If you're a basketball savant and you don't know who my next guest is, this guy's one of the most successful high school basketball coaches from the city of New York, Mr. Dwayne Tiny Morton. What's going on?
What's going on, bro? What's going on down there?
Same thing going on up there, man. It's coronavirus.
Yes. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, man. So listen, man. Let's jump right into it, man. I want you to talk briefly about your upbringing in New York, man, and how that shaped and molded you in terms of basketball wise.
Well, that's what it was. If either you was, the rappers always say it, either you was rapping or you was shooting hoops or selling some drugs. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It was a 4-lane highway. But that last lane, you was probably, just a regular person just working. But I chose to play a little basketball, and in the community I came up in, it was distractions, but the basketball plays were safe per se. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So who were some of the guys that you looked up to coming up?
Well, that's funny. My cousin was probably the only guy that he looked up to because we were close in age, and he was running around New York City playing basketball. So I looked up to him and my brother when they was playing basketball.
Okay.
And then at a certain age, I took it to a different level with basketball on my own. So then I went a different path.
Yeah. So I saw some pictures, man. I think it was on your Instagram pages. And I didn't know that you actually played at Abraham Lincoln High School.
Yeah, I played there. Actually, I played, and then my sophomore year we ended up, getting not the first, but the first championship in 40 years, really, for Lincoln.
Okay, all right. So that was a natural fit then for you to eventually become the head coach at Abraham Lincoln. Did you play college basketball anywhere?
Yeah, I played at Central Connecticut, and then I played at LIU.
Okay. So in terms of you getting into coaching on the high school level, how did that opportunity?
Well, that wasn't, it wasn't nothing that I did. It was actually the fact that I finished college and I was actually hanging out with Stephon Marbury a little bit, so me showing up at practices, which was the same coach I had, his senior year, the coach had an idea that he was gonna retire. He never told me this, but the fact that I was on the bench his senior year and the coach was thinking about retiring, they just handed me the job, man. So it was just right place, right time.
Right. And if people don't know, man, Abraham Lincoln, for most people that didn't know about the school, it really became famous through the documentary Through the Fire. And Stephon Marbury's high school and Lance Stevenson. What was that whole experience like, man? Just going through that whole thing with those NBA guys.
Well, it was kind of good that I was on the bench during Stephon's senior year, because his senior year was epic also. I seen a lot of stuff that goes on with top players in the country. So it gave me a little experience dealing with, Sebastian and then Lance and then Whitehead. So I kind of had a little handle on it, but being a young coach, I was really experiencing it myself. So it was great. It was great. It was great for the kids. It was great for the program. And I think a lot of guys benefit from it.
Yeah, and the thing that I wanted to ask you too, man, is how did you? Because it had to have been a challenge to coach a lot of kids with that amount of talent. And you have a pretty good record at Abraham Lincoln, man. How did you galvanize those guys together, man, and challenge those guys to become better every day? Because I know it was a lot of egos.
Uh, I mean, it probably was a lot of egos. You know, more or less, it's always more egos when it comes to the families instead of the kid because, and our circle it's usually a family style, like you know. So I try to get the kids to understand that when they with us, it's about us. You know, it's not about people on the outside. So I mean, I think I did that and showed that, you know, more often than anything. So most of the kids that played for me understood that it was an equal opportunity situation.
Yeah, right. So what would you say your greatest challenge was when you was there? Your whole time there, what do you say your greatest challenge was?
Actually, my greatest challenge probably was something that my former high school coach told me was going to be. My greatest challenge was when my peers, you know, had children going through the high school seasons and coming into high school and having to say yes and no to certain players that was, you know, basically, you know, my friends' kids. You know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was a real challenge.
Uh-huh. So, what in terms of your coaching style, you know, you being in the New York City area, did you look at anybody in particular to draw from in terms of, you know, how you want to coach these guys?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was there, and also I also kind of took some stuff from my prep school coach also, because I went to prep school after my junior year. And I went to Flint Hill Prep, and I coached Veta. So I stole some of his coaching techniques. I stole a guy named Larry Majors who passed away. I stole some of his techniques. Mo Hicks, who was at Rice.
Uh-huh.
You know, obviously I took some of my former coach techniques. So yeah, I did a lot of borrowing because coaching techniques.
Right. Now, if you look at some of the guys that you coach, man, you've coached, you know, the Sebastian Telfair, Lance Stevenson, Isaiah Whitehead, you know, and those guys have gone through some things in life, man. You know, you being that, I'm sure you were a father figure to those guys at some point, growing up in high school, college. Seeing some of the things that those guys have gone through, do you reach out to those guys and just try to let them know that you're there, or, you know, if they need to talk, or, you know, just give them some type of piece of advice?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, I think my dual phone number is always open to those guys, and we actually always communicate. But you know, I mean, I don't know if you have any kids, but at some point in life, you know, you gotta let the kid go and experience certain situations.
Right.
But like you said, just let them know that you're here if it's needed. You know, so when the kids went to the NBA, I always said to myself that that's their situation, and I don't know what they're experiencing all the time. So I kind of stay back a little bit unless they ask me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does it, like, and I know it affects you when those guys go through, you know, certain things, because I mean, those were some talented guys, and they probably should still be in the NBA to this day.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears for a second, man. I want to talk about New York City basketball in terms of the players that they produce year in and year out. I grew up on the Kenny Anderson, back when Kareem Reed, Jamal Mashburn, a lot of those guys played. It seems like, now this is coming from me, it just seems like New York City basketball isn't the same in terms of the players that they produced years ago versus now. What would you say to that?
It has some. Yeah, I can say so. I can say. I mean, but we still had an era where we had the Omar Cooks and Tyreek Brown and Andre Barrett, and we got Kemba Walker. Yeah, Lance. I think Kemba probably is going to end up being the best point guard, or one of the best point guards in the NBA history, coming from New York City.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's slowed down, and I think I don't even think it's slowed down. I think that other places caught up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, other places, you know, put in more work. You know?
Right. The game has become more global now.
Yes.
Everybody can play basketball right now.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the AAU circuit and, you know, some of these personal trainers out here, because you have a lot of basketball personal trainers out here right now. Do you think that has killed the game, or I mean, what do you think AAU? What role does AAU and some of these skilled trainers play in basketball right now?
I mean, it depends. It depends because I think it produced more revenue. I mean, for the amateur person in the game of basketball, which sometimes is good and bad. You know, like you said, you got trainers that probably don't have training degrees, probably don't even have college degrees, and they making money off of free basketball. Basketball is free, so I never really understood why you needed a trainer when everything a trainer does or can do, you can actually do it on your own. You know, it's not like it's a computer science situation.
Right.
So I never really understood that part. You know, I'm not into the training stuff.
Yeah. So if one of your players came to you and asked, you know, should I rock with this guy? Should I rock with that guy? What would you tell him?
We get all that stuff in practice. You know, we learn all the fundamentals and things that you need to learn in practice. If you go into a trainer, it's because, you know, somebody's telling you something opposite. Mm-hmm. I don't think that you need a trainer to learn how to play basketball. Now, if you need somebody to motivate you to keep you working out, then that's also a negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you live in a place like Coney Island, you have so many resources. You have the beach, the water, the sand. You have high rises. You have competition in the hood. If you really want to go against somebody, like, I don't understand that sometimes.
Right.
You know? And it's totally different when you get to the NBA. When you get to the NBA, there's no trainers. It's people that's passing you the ball and helping you get shots up or playing defense against you. Uh-huh. That's not the same thing as being a trainer, man.
Right. So being a guy that grew up in New York, what would you say in terms of, you know, the parks? You know, you got Kingdom, you got, you know, a lot of the tournaments up in Harlem. What did you experience any of those tournaments coming up, or you predominantly stayed in Brooklyn and played in the parks in Brooklyn?
You know, I definitely experienced those parks, you know, once in the blue as a player, but it wasn't really my thing playing in the parks as a player per se. But you know, basketball in New York City was a bunch of entertainment, so the parks really, you know, it was important to the communities. Whereas, you know, that same time the park was packed, there's less crime. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was very important to have those games, and a lot of people that played in the NBA came back, so kids got a chance to see guys play for free. So I think that it was an important era. You know, it still is important. I mean, it's still useful for us. I mean, if I had to choose between somebody asking me should they train with somebody or play in a big time outside tournament, I would say play in a big time outside tournament.
Yeah. Okay. So your career ended at Lincoln, and then you went to college. Did you go? Was it Seton Hall, or did you go to another high school before the Seton Hall gig?
So I went from Lincoln to Seton Hall, and then came back to Lincoln, and then went to a different college. Different high school.
What did you take from that year at Seton Hall? What did you anything did you take?
Well, I took back exactly what I kind of knew. The biggest difference between high school and college is the resources. You know, besides the players are probably better because, you know, you're getting one of the best players from the East area. But that's the major difference is the resources. I mean, with resources you can do a lot of things. You know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's definitely a business. but I think it's more of a business on a younger age also. You know, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, your high school is kind of like, I compare it to like your high school is not going to be great unless the junior high school level was good or great. You know what I'm saying? So every level underneath has to be great for you to be good or great.
Right.
You know,
right.
So.
Okay. All right. So now you're at the Patrick School, which is in New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
So do you feel a sense of, I mean, if you look up your name, man, you got a lot of you have a lot of accolades, man. You got a lot of cachet. I'm just being honest, man. You got the the TV shows, and then you were it with Stephen A. And
you seen that?
I didn't.
You gotta send me that, man.
No, I didn't see it. I saw that you were on the show.
Oh man, I need to get that clip, man. I need to call Stephen A. if I had some juice to call him right now.
Do you feel any pressure, man, to make the Patrick School a Lincoln Part 2?
On the Patrick School have their own tradition. I mean, in a rich one. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to keep it on top. You know, the best I can. I mean, and I think that itself is it's a great thing for me to try because like I said, there's been a lot of history there. So
right.
I'm trying to keep that afloat.
So what do you think is next for you in terms of coaching? Do you see yourself there a long time? Do you want to go? Back to college? What?
I mean, I got the same dream most of these kids have, man. I would love to be on an NBA, organization sometime, some way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't mind going back to college basketball. I'm open, man. If there's something that's someplace that I could be an asset to, I wouldn't mind.
Okay. All right. So I gotta put you on the spot, man. I definitely gotta put you on the spot because I had Kenny Anderson on the show, Momo, Jamal Robinson, a couple of other New York City guys, man, and they gave me their top 5 from the city. So who you got?
Hold on one second. I'm doing something. I'm doing a live right now. All right. Yeah. Well, I couldn't hear the question.
All right, so I had Kenny Anderson on the show. I had Momo Jones. I had Jamal Robinson and Shangy. A lot of the New York City guys. They gave me their top 5 from the city. And
top 5 from New York City?
Yeah.
And what era? That's impossible. That's impossible.
I mean, it's just like the GOAT conversation when you're talking about, in the NBA. Give me the 90s.
Top 5 from. I mean, in New York City, and people gotta understand this is not just New York City. There's a lot of guys who don't make the NBA, who don't make high school, who just played in the park that was better than a lot of guys who did make the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really understand New York basketball in any city like New York, when we talk skill in basketball, it can go a lot of ways.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a fair answer. Last thing, man. This is called free game, man. It's a part of my show, man, where I want my guests to just give some free game. Doesn't have to be about basketball. It could be about life. Just any type of inspirational thought you got for the kids.
I mean, I think everybody should understand that anything that's good can be taken from you at any point in life, and with no control of it. Like, you can have no control of what's being taken from you. So I think everyone should just try to, live righteous as possible, and just keep pushing. Keep pushing.
All right. That's what it is, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show with me. I definitely got to get up that way so we can do it live. I mean, do it face to face, man. Once this COVID-19 is out of here. You know, hopefully I get a chance to meet you at one of these basketball events. But again, man, I appreciate you coming on Sports Talk with Playeragent3, man, and hopefully I get to we can do this thing one more time.
No problem, man. When you get a chance, make sure to send it to me.
I got you.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Thanks, bro.